first time hosting a Bombshell Dynasty call. And, when Lindsay asked me, I, of course, got totally nervous and thought, what in the world can I provide for value to these people? And I thought, well, I'll just explain a little bit about my experience. And it was a good exercise to prepare for the call because I wanted to give you something of value, but also you can count it as your PD for today, okay? Because we're going to talk about gratitude. So a little bit about me. I started as a challenger almost 3 years ago. I had, at the time, 17-month-old twins. They're now 4 years old. And I was just in a big rut with exercise and trying to lose that baby weight. And so a friend of mine, her sister had become a coach, and I saw her on Facebook and was super attracted to the results she got. And so, boom, joined a challenge group. Fell in love with all of it, 21 Day Fix, Shakeology, and within 3 months, I'd lost 30 pounds. So people were coming at me left, right, and center wanting to know what I did, and I just kept sending them to her, my coach, because I didn't really want anything to do with this business. I'm a physiotherapist, and I just wasn't big into social media. And honestly, I could never do a slideshow presentation. I'm terrible with computers. I still am. It's always a struggle for me. Even on a Zoom call, I'm I can only do Zoom. I can't do any other way of communicating. So for me to become a coach was a scary thing, stepping out of my comfort zone. But I decided, a lot of people were approaching me. I need to give this a go. My family, it's busy, but I thought I'm going to make this work just to help cover some costs in our house, contribute a little bit to our family, and see where this takes me. And to tell you the truth, one of my biggest fears was I've been a chronic dieter my whole life. And I thought, what if I just can't maintain these results? I'm going to look like such a fraud. And how can I be a coach if I can't maintain what I've done here? So it did create a huge sense of accountability for me by becoming a coach. Pretty quickly, I got to 4-star diamond, and I actually at one point said, wow, this is kind of easy. And can you believe I said that? Because rank advancement is freaking hard, right? So I learned a lot. And when Lindsay asked me, what makes you light up as a coach, I would have said last year, rank advancement, becoming a premier coach, all those kind of things really attracted me to this business more and more, and kind of fed that wire of whatever I needed to do this job. And then just like most coaches, your rank is going to drop, things are going to change. And I had to really do some soul searching as to what I wanted from this business. And when I would sit down at the end of the day and think about the things that made me feel good about running this kind of a business, it really was helping others. And so, being grateful for this opportunity to help others become healthier is really what it had to come down to. And I'm glad I figured that out quickly, because I don't think I would still be here, 2.5 years later as a coach, if I was still just working on rank advancement or a big paycheck. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about to you guys today. I don't know, maybe you guys have been coaches for 4 years, maybe we have brand new coaches. We probably have everybody on here. And so, no matter what stage of your business you're at, I think it's something important that we kind of reflect on. So for me, there's kind of 4 things that coaching's done for me. It's really given me a sense of purpose, bigger than I am. It has definitely helped increase my self-confidence. And, half of that is just getting out of your comfort zone, doing things like hosting a call, right? Or going live on Facebook, whatever it may be. That does increase your general confidence. This sense of community, I think as we get older and adults and we're all in our own little bubble of our families and jobs, it's really nice to connect with new people and a true sense of community with like-minded others. Overall, it's given me an increased happiness to become a coach. And like I said, that's through a lot of soul searching and changes in my business that have helped me kind of realize that. So as coaches, we just are constantly giving. and many of you are probably mothers like I am, and that's another job where you're giving. And as a physiotherapist, I am constantly giving. And sometimes I think, that might not be enough for us. Like, what are we kind of getting out of it as coaches, right? Because we're just giving all the time. And so if that's how you're feeling, like you're not getting enough out of it, I think you need to refocus what you're trying to get out of being a coach. So this is where I started doing a little bit of research. And Time Magazine, of all things, had this article in the summer on the secret to happiness. And the secret to happiness, they found, really was in helping others. Winston Churchill came up with this great quote, and he said, "We make a living by what we get, and we make a life by what we give." And I think that's something, you could plaster that on your wall and remind yourself of that daily, because this is truly a giving job, and it is going to bring you happiness, but there's certain things about it you're going to have to make sure to help you become happy with it. So being passionate about giving. So if you're doing a challenge group just because, well, it's December, I've got to run another challenge group, you're not really going to get much joy from that, right? You actually have to want to do the challenge group to benefit from it. And I know for me, like the chronic dieter, somebody always looking for the next best thing, I really need that support and that accountability from my challengers. Even though I'm the one running the group, I'm the one doing the posts, for me, I get back from it. So I always run a challenge group, and I guess selfishly, in a way, it's for me as well. It's not just for them. So you have to make sure you're not doing it just, to get SC points or just to keep offering for your challengers. You have to get something out of it too. And so you have to kind of find that balance of what's it doing for you. And if it's not kind of filling your cup the right way, you have to adapt and figure that out. Another thing that I do with coaching that I found has given me more joy is the gift of time. So my new coaches, for example, I love one-on-one calls on Zoom. If they're local, I love to meet up, go for coffee. Whether they're a challenger or someone thinking about becoming a challenger, one of my favorite things to do is actually like go out for coffee with them and meet up and dig a bit deeper and find out their whole story. And they get to know me, I get to know them. By the time we go to that challenge group phase, we have a friendship, we have a bond. There's a sense of true compassion for them in their journey. And I think that's been something that's really helped me enjoy this process of coaching, is that one-on-one time. And so, last year, more rank focus, I probably would have only delegated my time to people who were in this. And I've kind of changed my perspective on things. And it doesn't matter if you're a discount coach, if you're a coach on my team and you want some time, I'm going to give it to you. And maybe it's only going to be 15 minutes. Maybe it'll be an hour. I don't put a cap on it. And that's part of this business that gives me joy. So I am happy to kind of do that for people because it fills my cup too, right? So that's another thing that I like to do, is gift of time. And then the last thing for that point was really about be willing to give more than you receive while keeping your own interests in mind. And so that comes back to, me needing the group, me needing the challengers. I actually need this business to maintain, a lifestyle of more commitment to my health journey. I'm sure if I weren't a coach, I would have regained my 30 pounds and, been on a new diet. So I think for me, that's kind of been the key. I did a little research here on gratitude. And so they did some studies. Just if you're actually searching every day for something that you've been grateful for, just the fact of searching through your brain, going through your day, it helps you become used to positive thinking. And the more grateful you are, the less effort it takes to be grateful. And I think that's a really important concept, that we, even in the midst of chaos in our lives, if we just take a step back and figure out, okay, what was a good thing today that happened? Whether it was, just making a new friend, or maybe it was in your challenge group, maybe something with your kids, whatever it is, you have to come up with those positive things. So something I've done is come up with like my top 10 beach body moments, and I keep those really close by. So on days when I'm sick of posting, I'm sick of inviting, I have no inspiration, that's kind of what I go to. And I think the longer you've been a coach, the longer that list will get. It's not just going to be 10 things. It's going to be 100 things, but just start with 10. Who are those people that you have impacted? And one of my most recent ones was a new coach who is really just on her own journey, who said to me, "Thank you so much for inviting me to this community." And it really like made my week, right? So you have to just kind of pick those things up and embrace them. And I think that needs to kind of be our new recognition, is like you're getting recognized from your challengers, from the coaches on your team. And you have to remind yourself of that and remember that, especially months like December, where it's not like a high time for Beachbody, right? It's a little bit more of a struggling month where people aren't as interested in health and fitness. When I was working in the hospital as a physiotherapist, this is about 12 years ago, I was a hand therapist. So hand injuries, mangled hands, cut tendons. People feel really sorry for themselves when they're injured, and I'm used to that as a physio. Now, the setting in the hospital was kind of interesting because we had, these hand patients who are feeling really sorry for themselves or being splinted. They might have lost a finger. And just due to lack of space in the hospital, right beside these hand patients, we had the outpatient burns patients. So we'd be sitting there, all the hand therapists, all the hand patients, doing our therapy, and in would walk a patient with a burn on their whole face, coming to get their bandages changed and cleaning done on their wounds. And so the hand patients would quickly realize, oh my gosh, my injury is not so bad. Look at that poor person with that burn on their face, or look at that person who lost their leg. And so it was really interesting because the burns patients would see the hand patients and have a similar effect. And so I worked there for a year, and it was a very interesting environment where I think everyone would leave therapy feeling okay with what they were dealing with. And so, sadly, now we have a new hospital and more space, and those kind of interactions aren't happening. But it was beneficial for all the patients and the therapists to see that comparison of, we're on our own journey. We're all going to have bumps and things along the way, but you can always be grateful for something. And so I thought that was a really great example to share with you guys of something I went through witnessing on a day-to-day basis where, we're just lucky. Most of us are healthy and able to work out, and there's people constantly dealing with these kind of things, trying to find the good in their world. So, antidepressants, these kind of drugs, super popular in my world at work, at the clinic. A lot of people are on them. And again, they've done studies doing MRIs of brains. When you're grateful and happy, you're stimulating the same parts in your brain that you are when you're on Prozac or Wellbutrin. So, it really shows that there's something more to this. It's like the endorphins from exercise. There's a benefit to actually putting effort into being grateful. Now, maybe you're searching through your day. What has happened to you today that's been good? Maybe you can't come up with anything, but just that searching is helping, okay? You're helping kind of reconnect and rewire all of these things. Okay, here is another really interesting fact with brain science. So it shows that making decisions reduces worry and anxiety, as well as helping you solve problems. So making decisions includes things like setting intentions. And as I was reading this, I thought of Beachbody's motto, decide, commit, and succeed. It really correlates to that same thing. You're making a decision, about what you're going to do here, and you're committing, and then therefore you're going to have success. So it's the same as this study on brain science showing you that just making the decision, whether it's you want to be a top 10 coach or you want to hit Success Club this month, it doesn't matter how big the goal is, just making that decision and then following through with some good intentions and commitment will get you there. So I really like that, how, Beachbody is already saying that to us, but sometimes it's helpful to have a little explanation as to probably how they got there. Yeah, so your decision just has to be really good enough. Don't focus too much on being perfect, because that is going to create more stress or more anxiety. And there's probably a ton of type A coaches here on this call who are like, if I don't get this 100%, I'm out. And I've had a few coaches quit, Diamond, who are type A, who've got to get it perfect or else they can't manage. You have to find the balance. You have to be okay with things not being perfect, but being good enough. Okay. And so a lot of this applies to our business so nicely, because we start comparing, we start feeling like maybe our results aren't good enough compared to some other coach. And so you have to just be on your own journey and sharing your story and making little achievable goals so that you feel some satisfaction from it. Yeah, I think that's a big one for a lot of us, right? In the Beachbody world, I think people get really caught up on the comparison game, and just be okay with your own journey. It is not a race. Okay, another study. Are you sick of my studies? This is how I work, okay? People put into stressful situations, they were giving an opportunity to phone a loved one or text with a loved one. And again, they looked at the results. If you actually got to physically talk to your loved one on the phone, you felt better. If you were texting with a loved one, it was like you got no support at all. And so that's a big one when it comes to meeting new people on social media. When it comes to your challengers, are you just going to like all the posts? Or are you going to go out of your way and like make a comment? Are you going to be that person who comments, or are you going to be that person who hits the love button, which is so easy to do? Facebook especially makes it especially easy not to comment. We can just give the wow face, the heart emoji, whatever you're doing. But if you take the extra time, you can really like connect with people and they can feel that support. And so I think of, Instagram, if you're getting like 100, 200, 1,000, however many followers you have, likes, and you get 0 comments, you're going to sort of say like, oh, yeah, great post, I guess, but no interaction, right? We want people to connect with. And so getting out there and doing voice messages and commenting and talking to people is the difference, right? So don't spend your whole day liking. It's better to interact with 1 or 2 people and connect on a real level. So that's something that I've kind of found to be really true. At the beginning, it seemed to me, oh, I had 100 likes on something. How exciting. But it doesn't really matter. And as you start getting towards your cold market, which I'm well into that now, 2.5 years later, you really have to take some time to get to know people, and it's not going to happen from liking their daily post if they're posting every day anyways, okay? So there's some advice on connecting with people. Now, how to be grateful. So these are my last 4 tips. It's a hard thing to start anything new, right? Just like a new program, maybe you're going to go gung-ho for the first 5 days and then you fall off the wagon. So you have to make it a habit. So writing things down, write your top 5 moments of the day down. And I want you to like really sit and think about your day, all aspects, and write them out. Number 2 is get into a routine. So challenge yourself to do it for 10 days, journaling your top 5 moments of the day. And just think of like what brought a smile to your face, what made you happy today. Maybe it was just somebody being kind and opening the door for you. It can be that simple, and it can make you really feel some inner happiness. It's just a little pick-me-up, okay? Most of you probably are working with a success partner, whether it's just team members or someone even on a different team who you like to communicate business-wise. This is something that's a great tool for you guys to check in every day of, hey, what was the best part of your day? And you can make it business focused with your success partner. So come up with something that a challenger or a coach or anything to do with your business happened that made you happy today, and focus on that and share that with your success partners so you can grow together. Meditation. Most of you probably read The Miracle Morning. I am partway through that book, but I did watch the Success Club call from Hal, is that his name? Hal from Miracle Morning. And he suggested that app, Simple Habit. It's a free app. Who doesn't love free apps? So I downloaded the app that day and I started doing a 5-minute meditation because that's all I have time for between working and my kids and running my business. I don't have extra time. Neither do you. So start with the 5 minutes from Simple Habit, and it's really amazing what that can do for you. So it's just like a way of getting rid of mental trash. You're just like getting it out of your head so that you can focus on the good stuff. It makes it easier for us to feel gratitude if we're not bogged down by all the kind of bad parts of our day. So that's been amazing for me. And there's even like a kids version on there. My 6-year-old deals with a lot of like over emotional stuff at the end of the day when it's bedtime. And so we've been even doing like the kids version. That one you have to pay for. But I thought, hey, this might be worth it if it's going to help him too. Just to kind of focus and calm down. So a lot of kids are like that, but a lot of adults are too. When we get all wired up and overwhelmed, we just can't focus and we can't even do what we need to do, our daily tasks. So I highly recommend that one. That was from Hal, not from me, but it's a good one. Then the last thing you need to do is to just repeat this. So the more often you do it, the wiring is going to get better for being grateful. We already talked about that. And it really reminds me again of my physio career where I see a ton of patients who just can't engage a muscle. They just overuse tight muscles. They have weak muscles that they don't know how to engage. And so a lot of times with them, I talk about the wiring. I'm like, we are trying to get your nerve to that muscle to help you engage it better so that you can eventually get that muscle stronger. It's the exact same with gratitude. So the more you do it, the meditation, the being grateful, the looking for the positives, focusing on them, your neural pathways are going to connect better for you to feel happiness in your business, whether you hit Success Club last month or not. So if you just keep showing up and keep repeating these things, eventually it's going to become really easy. And I think you'll get a lot of satisfaction and happiness from your coaching gig. So those are kind of my takeaways, and I had a really good time looking up all this stuff on gratitude because I do this daily, and I do it with my kids every single night before bed. We each say our favorite moment of the day, and so that's my kid part of the day, and then it's an important step for my business too. Focusing on those good points. I think we hear no a lot in our business. And personal development's the part that's supposed to help you just get over that big no. But sometimes, you can take things personally and it can be hard to get over. And so just kind of let that bad stuff go, whether it's people not interested in your challenge group right now, or whether it is coaches leaving to do whatever they're doing, or just feeling fed up with it all. You have to really focus on, hey, what are the good things I'm doing? And one of my top 10 for me, I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to wrap it up, is my husband's cousin. She joined my challenge group, and she asked me if her daughter could join, and she's only 16 years old. And I was like, oh, sure, let her in, she'll have fun in the group. And she's 16 years old, overweight, like 170 pounds, and short. And she ended up losing 45 pounds. So for me, that is like my number one for my top 10 Beachbody moments, because now she's going into grade 11, feeling like $1,000,000, feeling so confident, and she's a totally different girl. And she is family, but whether she was family or not, she's one of my favorite transformations. Yeah, it gives me goosebumps too. It really, because I can put myself back to when I was 16 and always feeling kind of chubby and gross and unsure of my body. You know, you're going through so much anyways. And I think, God, I just changed the outcome of her life so much by becoming a coach and letting her in my challenge group with her mom. So that was one of my top 10. So I encourage you to write down your top 10. Yeah, prom ready. Write down your top 10 list and really keep those reminders close by, because we are making amazing impacts on people's lives. And that's where the good in all this is. And that's what we need to focus on a bit more.
I love that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
No, seriously. I think, just even the idea of a top 10 list and having that to focus on in the frustrating moments in every area of your life, you like marriage is tough, and whatever you focus on expands. And I think that we all are guilty at some point of forgetting all the little things about this business that we absolutely fell in love with, that I remember saying, and I did this business for free for so long. And I remember saying, like, I would totally do this for free if I wasn't a coach. And it's still true to this day. Just sometimes you get so focused on the mundane stuff and the frustrating things that you forget and don't see anymore all the great things. And that's so true. Gosh, just the example of the 45 pounds lost and the way that you have changed that girl's life. We've probably each had a moment like that, not necessarily that amount of weight. Maybe it's just that you were that one person for someone, and maybe for you growing up, you didn't have that one person, so now you got to be that answers to someone's prayer. Like those, I think too often, if it doesn't have a success club point attached to it, we don't give it enough value. Mm-hmm. And where I really fall back in love, anytime I fall out of love with Beachbody, which, believe it or not, it's happened a couple times throughout the 8 years I've been a coach almost, I have to go back to those basics of like, why did I love this? What about it made my heart flutter in the mornings? And it wasn't opening my back office on Thursdays. It wasn't that in the beginning. And I think you're so right. From the beginning of this call, saying sometimes when everything's going well and you do have high success club numbers and you got people saying yes, and you see your rank pop up, yeah, of course, celebrate that. That's fun and exciting. But if that's the end all be all, it can be very empty at the end of the day. And we have to have this be joyful every day. Like, I want to wake up excited every day, regardless of if I get a yes that day or not. And I love what you said about that, and just getting in that habit. I know for me, I love that you said like the app starts with a 5-minute meditation, because you're right. So many of us, it is hard to think like, oh my gosh, I don't have an hour to sit and spend meditating and writing out my journaling. And because some people do have the ability or have developed the discipline to do that. So start small, do little things. I wrote down while you were speaking, Lisa Nichols, if you've never heard of her, she was from The Secret. She's an amazing speaker, and she has awesome YouTube videos. If you ever want to look her up, she's great. But she was talking about how she started her own daily affirmations, was just looking in the mirror, asking herself, what are 5 things that I'm letting go of or forgiving myself for? What are 5 things that I'm proud of myself for? And then what are 5 things that I'm excited about, either now, today, coming in the future? Just to get yourself in that state of mind of 1, letting go, 2, being grateful for this moment, and then 3, looking ahead, knowing there's exciting things ahead, and just changing that state of mind. And it takes maybe 2 minutes to do.
Yeah, exactly.
We all have that time. It's just a matter of discipline. So set a reminder on your phone, or say before I pick up my phone in the morning, but that's something I'm going to do. That's little things that I've started to do that make a huge difference.
Yeah, totally. I love that. That's a great idea.
So thank you so much. I think this is exactly what we need, especially towards the end of the year, as you guys start to go into the state of, okay, now we're going to goal set for the new year. There's tons of opportunity. We obviously have 80-day obsession launching this week, which is super exciting. Just stay in that state of gratitude. Remember what you started this for. And when you're making those goals, don't just include rank goals. Don't just include monetary goals. Have them be well-rounded. Remember what you got started in the first place. And maybe even set some goals of like, let me find 5 people next year in 2018 that I'm going to help, transform their lives in some way. And be specific. Maybe say 5 that I'm going to help lose 20 pounds or more, or 5 that I'm going to help make $200 extra for their family a month, or whatever it might be for you. When you have other people attached to it makes it really fun too. And it's way more fulfilling seeing other people live out their dreams and you being a catalyst for that. So just so you guys know, we have one more Bombshell Dynasty call this next Monday at 9 p.m. and another awesome speaker. And so we're going to close out the year next Monday. And then starting in January, we're going to start doing a once per month Dynasty Surge. For those of you who haven't been around long enough, the Dynasty Surge are amazing. So we put together about an hour's worth of content and usually have, before we were having like 10 speakers, a little too much, ended up being a few hours long, but we're going to start to do between 3 and 4 speakers, probably some of the best throughout the entire Bombshell Dynasty, like 75,000 people deep. I'm going to pull some of the best. We'll have very specific content to that surge and you'll be able to join and probably have 500 people on the call or more. It's a lot of fun. It's once a month, so you don't have to have every single week taken up, but it'll be a really exciting call, and we'll do that all throughout next year, once per month. And I'll let you guys know about 2 weeks before the call when it's going to be. Most likely kind of same time as we've been doing these calls. So a little bit later at night. Only reason we do them so late for those East Coasting people is because the West Coast people it's 6 o'clock at night for them, so we can't do it much earlier. Otherwise, a lot of them are still at work. So try to be as accommodating as possible. I sit here with zit cream on my chin and no makeup on, so I'm going to be on camera every time. But I'm excited for them. They're really fun. And Nicole, I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said to her earlier, it is a big commitment when you sign on to do these calls, and people put a lot of heart into it. And it's not just getting on for 30 minutes. It takes time to be able to put it together. So I appreciate you, and I'm excited to see what you do in the next year. And thank you so much for the awesome, valuable content.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem, guys. Have a great week. And I will be sharing details about 80-Day Obsession as I come across it. So look forward to that. And I'm excited to see you next Monday. Bye, guys.
Bye.